Hello, I'm Derek George. I'm the company secretary and also a trustee. There's been a lifeboat at Caister since 1794 and all along the East Anglian coast. Eventually they formed to become the Norfolk Society for the Preservation of Mariners' Lives at Sea. So the Caister station operated under the auspices of the RLI from 1857 until 1969. In that period they've launched 11 different lifeboats have been used and have been launched 811 times. For a period of 62 years the station operated 2 lifeboats, and by the end of that time it saved more lives than any other station in the whole of the country in the United Kingdom. 1,814 lives have been saved by the Caister station, a national record. The 17th of October is a synonymous date in the history of the Caister lifeboat. In 1969 it was a date in which, despite all the protests by the local and the fishermen, the boat was removed by the RLI. The very next day, Skipper Woodhouse, who'd already been instrumental in forming the Caister Voluntary Rescue Service, placed one of his own boats here in the shed to maintain the continuity of and the motto of Caister men, never turn back. It so happens, of course, that 17th of October was the date on which Skipper Woodhouse died. In the course of the service, over the years, the station has lost 20 lives of its own people. The worst in 1901, in November the 13th, when the lifeboat Beecham was summoned in horrendous northwesterly gales and horrendous seas. 3.5 hours were spent trying to launch the boat, and when they eventually did so, it picked up a foul sea, turned over and trapped them all underneath. 8 of the crew were found by daybreak the next morning, but the 9th one wasn't found until April the 12th the following year, 1902. And he was found 12 miles to the south, and the body was headless and decomposed. And that was my great-grandfather, Charles Bonnie George. And my great-grandmother, Sarah, who couldn't read and write, actually identified the body by the darn of the socks. The disaster became a national news item, and subscriptions were sent even from the King and Queen of the country. But at the inquest that followed quite quickly, our man Haylett, who was unable to attend but had rescued a son-in-law and another person from the boat, attended the inquest and was asked by the coroner as to whether the men were returning. The old man stuck his chest out, as you would imagine, and he actually said it's against our rules to turn back, but the media turned that into Caister men never turn back, and that's been the motto of this station ever since, and has been really adopted by the lifeboats throughout the United Kingdom.
This is a film of the men who carry on the tradition of saving lives at sea. It is in their own words, and they will never turn back.
Talking to you, why you talking to